Hello? Is this working? Is this freezing? Hi everyone. Troubles continue with the streaming software. I'm not sure why. I seem to be frozen on the preview screen as well. Hopefully, any of this is coming through. I mean, we're down to 1080p for some reason. And still it's saying it's skipping frames. Who knows? I've been trying to use a different program, but I've been recording in it, but I realised that for streaming it hasn't got all of the bells and whistles that I've got set up in this one for all of the stuff. Hey, look, the chat and stuff's back. I went to look at last year's like games of the month recap, whatever I called it, and to try and see what background I had, because I remember like I had a nice photo of the. I was supposed to do that actually. I was still doing the green screen and stuff. I still had space for a green screen, and we had our living room and stuff in the background. I liked that. I was going to try and recreate it, but I couldn't. But instead, we've got this daft space. Hi, everyone, by the way. I realise that I'm coming through now. James Marty, well, he's supposed to be here. I've given him equal billing. Look at the same size box and everything. And unfortunately, an inevitable get up to make a cup of tea to start the stream with. He's downstairs, reckoning he's going to get fed. He's not. I hope that eventually we'll turn him off for now and just have space. Hopefully he'll get it into his head fairly soon that he's not coming. Maybe I'll just leave it on. That's what it is. If anyone coming late, just wonder what so much real estate of the screen is being taken up by. But yeah, he's been here all day basically. I've been here all day, editing stuff, building things. Hey, things are coming up where that camera isn't on, is it? I've been gluing things together. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, so hi everyone. Thank you for being here, everyone. George, Steve, James, Moran. What is the weather like? Clear but cold. It's fairly like that here. It hasn't been very rainy today. It's been a bit sunny. It's been freezing cold, but kind of sunny here. Everything's looking all right. Okay, maybe my program's just complaining and there's nothing wrong with any of it, and I didn't need to be messing around with things at the last minute. Had to get some photos as well. So we'll talk about some things. Usually we talk about the videos that just happened. Unusually this month, we went places in November. So we'll have a little chat about a convention. I went to a convention. Yeah, me and Rach went to Gridcon, and we have been going around a bit. We've been to Sheffield. We've been to Derby the other day, playing in some Arkham horror things. But yeah, we'll get to that. So what's on my list to talk about? Oh yes, as always, I should say thanks everyone that is already on here. Patreon.com/slickerdrips that I can't really point to from this little space prison that I'm in is the main way that the channel happens, really, that it exists at all. And Ko-fi is in the other corner as well that I'm closer to. I'm kind of close to doing. Yeah, the channel exists only through crowdfunding and these places. Oh, thanks, Steve. I don't think the Streamlabs robot even responds to things anymore. But luckily, we've got Steve sorting it out for us. Yeah, so it's try and say. I forget all the time, but try and say it often enough that yeah, it's genuinely the only way that I can be here doing this on the days that I'm doing it. The other days I'm doing a job. And yeah, it's tough. It's always tough at Christmas, though. Like, it feels like, oh, it's especially tough. I think it's just generally tough at Christmas because things are busier at Christmas and harder to get done, aren't they? Anyway, when places get busy, and try and keep up videos here as well. Although towards the end of it, I'm hoping to like get ahead on videos so that in December, in kind of later December, when we're doing all the family travel-ins and stuff, there'll still be videos and things coming up. There'll be the top 10 and all that sort of good stuff, as well as general playthroughs and things as well. There's stuff coming up this week. There's stuff about to go up early on Patreon and that. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a little kind of thing. I don't know. It was a few days ago. I was feeling more down about it just because generally, like, I know that there are bigger things happening, right? There's cost of living crisis. It's horrible, but yeah. So generally, if like the Patreon and stuff has been down the last couple of months, it's like more than usual. That would be the first culprit. But yeah, it's always a bit of a panic. I don't want to like. Yeah, I'm grateful that anyone ever supported in the first place. I never want to be like make anyone feel bad for leaving, because whether you're just not bothered anymore or you can't afford it or anything, it doesn't matter, does it? But yeah, I don't know what my point was there. Just generally, yeah, I could do with some support, especially so lately. And yeah, the Patreon and stuff is down there. You get to vote on videos. There's going to be a vote that comes up after this stream on Patreon, where you can decide what's getting played through this month, what gets the top priority, and you can join the Discord and stuff and have a chat in there. I've been told, like, when luckily Rach picks up the slack in taking pictures of games that we're playing. But yeah, I've got a renewed. That's my pre-New Year's resolution. Is maybe try taking photos of all of these games that you're playing, and be posting more about things. Because yeah, I've drifted off all the social medias and things. But out of anything, the Discord is the place I'd like to be. But yeah, let me know about all sorts of things, because like, yeah, generally, I get the impression generally that you're happy to just with what I'm doing. But yeah, if there's things that you want to see more of, like, let me know. Like, whether it's particular games or particular videos that I make. Because in general, like, the spirit and stuff of the channel is that it's stuff that I like to do and stuff that I'm good at doing. But I think things that I perhaps haven't done as much in the past, like barely ever done an unboxing, but I know that Frosthaven's a pretty special one. But I had a great time just having a chat in that stream, and we talked about mentioned like the painting streams and stuff. I don't know if I would do that, just because generally it's a thing that I don't know. I suppose like it's never a thing that I've consciously not streamed, but if people would want to see it, I could give it a go. It's just at the moment I'm going to be painting an Oathsworn that's all spoilers and stuff in it, so I don't know if that would be a good thing. But maybe when I get round to something like Marvel United and stuff, I don't know, we could give it a go. But generally, yeah. Do you want to see more of that? Do you want to see top 10s come back? Do you miss my opinions on every video? Or yeah, just generally, it's never a policy to be like, I'm going to stop doing this thing. Or either been like, I've done a first impressions in the past, or it's just nice to just do a playthrough sometimes. But yeah, let me know about all of the things. It was going to be the kind of a more, it was more kind of panicked and, oh, we need to have all polls on this and things need to change and things need to be radically different. But I don't know that they do. That might have just been an overreaction to stuff. But let's catch up on stuff as well. Judge, you're in Houston, so you don't know what cold feels like anymore. We haven't been like, I don't know if it's like, we've only been, well, I have only been in America to Florida, which is similar kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Similar kind of hotness, right? Although we've only ever been there in the late summer, so what am I talking about? Scorching though. James, you bought Folklore, The Affliction and Expansion today because it's 75% off on their store. Yeah, I saw that a bit too late. I didn't understand. I think I saw it last night, and the prices weren't, at least on my phone, they weren't 75% off. So I just thought, oh, I've missed this or it doesn't work, and ignored it. And then saw again today, this morning, like, oh, if you add them to the basket, they are 75% off. But even last night, the lovely chest full of minis was sold out. I know that I think the expansion stuff was sold out when I looked this morning. Maybe they're still there. But yeah, it was a ridiculously cheap price if you're in the UK and you fancy a tough dungeon crawler, I think is what they were talking about it in the Facebook comments of the post about it. It sounds cool. I wanted to give it a go. I was excited by the big chest of minis though, while I'm on my painting kick. But yeah, who knows? Like, maybe it'll come back in stock and I'll grab it. Because I know, like, the game is still there, isn't it? And still is all lovely without minis. And in the past, I've been a standee only kind of guy. But at the moment, while it'll only last, I don't know, another month or so before I drift off to something else. But while I'm being a good painting boy, I'm all jazzed about minis and stuff. Yeah, so great deal on that. More story time with Rach on the channel. Yeah, like she hasn't been on for like she's only been on a couple of times in the last few months. Actually, it's generally like it's work more than anything. It's we had to do things on Fridays for a while, which is generally like Friday is still after work for Rach, but you know it's the day that at least the week is done, and we can have a nice game on here. But yeah, it's been very busy for her lately, and this week as well. We were gonna have it was last week, wasn't it? We were gonna do Galzir, and then we were gonna do it to this week, but can't do it this week either. But I think, we haven't decided definitely, but there will be something Frosthaven next week. I think it might be live, and I think it might be with Rach. None of that's definite, but that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment. It'd be like the first scenario, nothing massively spoilery. One day maybe we do our scenario. But yeah, I'd like more story time with Rach on the channel. A year ago, like looking back on that video when I was checking stuff like a year ago, it was all we were in the thick of role player adventures and stuff, weren't we? Tons of Rach on the channel there. So yeah. There will be, but yeah, not this week. Hopefully next week. Solo reviews will go good also. Yeah, well, I always used to like. It used to be first impressions after absolutely everything, but yeah, lately I've just drifted away a little bit from it. But I think like a lot of the things I've done, like say Carnegie or Macau and stuff, I've already done enough about it that like and say like Wingspan Asia. Like I said loads of stuff about Wingspan. I just kind of do a little bit at the end, a little bit of a chat about it. I don't know, maybe I should do more. I had the Kickstarter, but haven't had the time to play it. Oh, Folklore of the Affliction. Yeah, it looked cool. More playthroughs, not solo mood, and top 10s. It trends more to solo. Like I trend a little bit more to solo, kind of generally now as well, because like there's just more time to do it for a start, and like in gameplay, I mean, there's more time to do it, and I'm still more inclined for like these heavy Euro-y things. And I think like not entirely, we still do play some, but Rach is less into it. Whereas like the dungeon crawly, the campaigny things, she's still very into. She's very excited for Frosthaven and Oathsworn, even though we don't really know that much about Oathsworn still. It's still generally sealed in boxes. But yeah, Little Glass Marty could do with coming out more, couldn't he? He's been in a few lately, though. He's been in a few this month. He's been in World Stitches, hasn't he? Arkham, Fortune and Folly, he helped me out in. He's still not here yet, is he? He's still just sitting in the kitchen, expecting food's going to come. We'll see some more older but great games. Yeah, maybe for January, like we should alternate vote things or have multiple in a month. Like this vote is very much new arrivals, but like last one or the one before, it was mostly like looking back at old things. Like there's still plenty that I've got that I've never done a playthrough for, and as time gets on and space gets kind of lacking, we do kind of like things end up leaving the collection, not because I don't love them, but there's just no space for them. It'd be nice for more things to have gotten a playthrough before that happens. But yeah, on that kind of note, Macau has had another playthrough for solo. That's on Patreon now and coming up next week, I think. And I saw as well, like the vote was just for a solo Feld, and I picked Macau because I was excited by it. But Trajan, it's definitely Rach's favourite. I don't know what my favourite would be. But yeah, there's a cool looking one for Trajan as well. Maybe I should put that in the vote. I'll put it in next month's vote. There's too much. There's an embarrassment of riches this month. A ratio of painted minis to unpainted minis. Still massively unpainted. Like, I don't know, generally, all that I've painted really, you can measure it in little spurts of painting. So when we got Madara and we got really into Madara, that's when I pulled out all my like 10-year-old Warhammer paints that surprisingly, a few were dead, but a lot of them worked all right. But yeah, I painted, I'd still say I was painting Madara for a good old while, but still probably didn't get massively far in it. Did our characters, did a lot of the characters, we did like a one-off, a non-campaign thing, with a couple of our friends where we all played different characters as well. Painted all of those. Painted a lot of I think everyone we fight against in maybe the first chapter of the game, but there's so many huge minis that never got any paint on them. So that's still waiting. And then, so that's like, when did Madara arrive? Was that 2019? Didn't paint at all until kind of last year when we were really into Descent. And that kind of kicked it off again. Oh, I'm going to paint all of Descent. I got further in that, painted a lot of that, but then drift off, get bored, get into other things. And then lately, it's been off and on through the summer when I got Mansions of Madness, because that was kind of the Arkham chain that's happened to me this year, of partly like, oh, I'd like to play Mansions of Madness again, and also wouldn't it be great to have minis for all of the other Arkham games if you get Mansions of Madness. And then, oh, people sell 3D printed minis of the characters that weren't in Mansions of Madness. So basically I painted all of that. That's my first completed game, Mansions of Madness. There's like expansions that you can't get for it. I've got every expansion that you can actually get, all painted, all with all the investigators and stuff, all the extra investigators that I bought as of like a month ago or so, fully painted and done. And then, what am I on now? I painted all of the starting classes for Frosthaven. So technically, that's Frosthaven done until we unlock a box, because I'm not looking at them. And then Oathsworn, I'm on now. I have painted the 2 characters that I think we're going to be, if we're allowed to be them. I'm just kind of assuming, because I haven't opened the game, other than the mini trays are right on top of the box, so I haven't had to open anything for that. And the idea was going to be kind of like when I unboxed Gloomhaven, and I will do on Frosthaven. Like, I see it all, because someone's got to unbox it and do all this stuff, but all of the bosses and surprises and things, Rach can still have a surprise, and I'll still have a surprise of who they are and what they're doing there. But yeah, I'm going to try, and if maybe we'll hate Oathsworn. I don't think we will. I'm pretty excited for it. But yeah, the idea will be, if we do it and we get into it a bit, I'd like to paint Oathsworn as we're going. Like, you unlock a thing at the end of a session maybe, and then paint it for the next one. We'll see though, because as I said, I'll get bored of it eventually. Surprised not to see Raiders of Scythia playthrough. No, I haven't played that one. I've played, like, it's based on Raiders of the North Sea, right? That we played once years and years and years ago, back when we had a local game shop. We don't know more. Or that one went. But yeah, I haven't played that one. Pretty much everything else Garfield, haven't I? I should get hold of it and do that. She likes Trajan. It might be fun to see YouTube review Marrakesh. Rach will never review anything. Well, you can see actually. We did Rach's top 10 when we used to do more top 10s. She is in it, right? I'm not making that up. I think she is in it, giving opinions of games that generally, yeah, she doesn't really like to do. She'll say that was good, that was okay, that was all right. That was all right is a good review from Rach. But yeah, I don't think she'd be up for doing one on camera. We'll talk about Marrakesh though in Gridcon. We played a 2-player game of it, but I should get on to. I like just we should have Q&A bits every now and then, shouldn't we as well? I used to have a monthly Q&A, but I ended up running out of time for it. I think I was trying to cram in playthroughs all the time. But I would like to do videos for all of the new Felds as well. I haven't got any of them. Just that Marrakesh was in the Gridcon library, luckily. Could get some streams of painting the minis. Yeah, we could do if that's like we should try one out, right? See if it's cool. But yeah, the only thing is at the moment the thing I'm painting at the moment is Oathsworn. And I suppose if I was doing a hero, they're not secrets, are they? But the things you're fighting against are all in kind of secret boxes that I've only opened one, but like they'd be spoiler streams. I don't know if that would be a good thing to do. But the thing after that would be, we couldn't do Secret Frosthaven. Mansions is finished. I think the next thing is Marvel United. I picked that up for really cheap a few months ago. And Rach would like it to be painted before we play it. So at some point, Oh yeah, my penguin mug. I forgot about this. Everything goes into a little Christmas box and in January. I forgot I bought this last year. It's from Starbucks. They do a polar bearista this year. That's nice, but it's not as good. It's got ears that get in the way when you're drinking, and it's not as cute as a penguin. Sorry to polar bears out there. Yeah, I can pass along her reactions. That's the shame with us not playing as many Euro 2 players. That yeah, we've got Rach's reactions sometimes as well. Fell in love with Amsterdam, but you always lose. Yeah, well, Amsterdam is like it's new Macau, isn't it? And I've heard I've heard really conflicting things about these new felds. I suppose I don't know. I'm not really taking anything from them. Like some people in love with the changes, some people really angry at the changes. But I think the most important thing is that whether it's different or not, you can play Macau, right? And generally, people haven't been able to for years and years. You see in the playthrough, or the old playthrough that I did, my Macau is a damaged Dutch copy that I managed to just get. There was one copy lying around in a shop in Europe somewhere, like 2015 or something. It was impossible to get then. So maybe some will sell now that people have got Amsterdam if they want to move it on. But generally, it's annoying when you can't get hold of any of these things, isn't it? So even if the reprints are a bit different, at least you can play something like Macau. And you can probably, I don't know, I imagine that it wouldn't be too hard to play it with the original rules if you really, really wanted to. But maybe the new rules are great. I haven't got it. I'm hoping to... Yeah, I think they were delivered. Last time I spoke to Queen Games about it, they were still in the process of fulfilling the Kickstarters and stuff. So yeah, it'll be nice if that comes along. But there's a lot kind of here already. What's happened to this? This had all been sized beautifully so that it could sit alongside me and Marty when he was going to be here. Oh, that's perfect. Let's get it smaller again. It's because I've added these Gridcon pictures. And I think Rach took a picture of Marrakesh that's vertical. So it's messed up my sizings. So, November, as brief as I can be. Because I ramble on forever. These are all videos that are up on the channel that you can have a look at if you'd like. There's a full solo playthrough of Oceans. It's had a Kickstarter for a new Legends of the Deep expansion and a Legendary edition that combined it all together. But another new thing was a solo playthrough. It works beautifully. I'd never played Oceans before because it's too mean for ultra care bears like us. But hey, playing against a solo bot, I'm not bothered about. And yeah, really, really loved it. I've been missing out, but I haven't because, as I say, the multiplayer wouldn't be for me. Eldritch Horror finished. The second playthrough for Eldritch Horror, where we took on Cthulhu and had quite a successful game, quite a funny game. I remember this being. I don't remember as much about the first one, but I remember this being pretty funny. Of Charlie Kane just sitting on one location, dishing out goodies to all of the players. So you can see 2 full playthroughs of Eldritch Horror, and yeah, there will be this is pretty much the only thing. There's been a few messages and just generally in comments more Eldritch Horror. I think I need to give it breathing room between them, but it will return at some point. There's been I think along with all of the other Arkham things, there's I don't want people to get sick of it. People that aren't into it as much, let's give it a bit of breathing room. There's plenty to get on with, isn't there? There'll be expansions at some point. There's a how to play video. There'll be some other how to play videos coming up soon as well. But yeah, there's a proper official how to play video for Solar Sphere, which I hope I'll be able to do a playthrough of at some point quite soon. There was an overview for Fit to Print, the latest game from Flatout, who collaborate on the design of games, and they've had a pretty amazing run of Calico, of Cascadia, The Spiel de Jour, and Verdant, which, hey, we might be mentioning coming up this month, perhaps. This is the next one on there. It is from the named designer is Peter McPherson, who designed, amongst other things, Tiny Towns. But yeah, everyone, it's laid out much more clearly in the rulebook of how it works at the Flatout Collab. They all collaborate on the design of these games. You're making woodland front pages. You can play it as a real-time game, kind of Galaxy Trucker poker style, going into a stack of tiles with one hand, looking at it. Do you want it or not? Certain things want to be next to other things. Certain tiles will reward you for scoring criteria. There's of course an element of wanting to be the fastest, but you'll probably get punished if you just rush through it. Oh yeah, check it out. It's lovely. Oh, speaking of lovely, the beautiful Flamecraft. I don't have the gorgeous Kickstarter edition. We did see someone at Gridcon playing it. It is beautiful, but so is the retail version as well. It doesn't have amazing minis and plastic resources and metal coins and things, but despite that, it's like well, I thought it was going to be quite light, but yeah, there was more to it than I was expecting. You are sending dragons to shops, basically, and either activating loads that are there, making deliveries to shops to get special abilities and things. I thought it was really cool, and I think Rach will really like it if we ever have time to play it. Bestiary of Sigillum got an overview. A bit unusual, this, because it is like a 1v1 or a 2v2 fighting game, which generally I'm not into. It was like, I think part of the Kickstarter is it is gonna have a solo mode, but unfortunately in the end my prototype didn't have one, so it doesn't include any information on that, which is the bit I'd be buzzed about. But yeah, the just how the normal game works is covered in the overview. Let's play Eldritch Horror again. So like, yeah, I haven't played it since. I don't know if I've played it since that playthrough. Maybe me and Rach played it. Oh, I definitely have played it since that playthrough, because I've played it twice, I think, with some expansions on. Because the last time I played it was like, I didn't know about, there's an app you can get that will draw cards for you. And when you've got all of the expansions turned on, it is just so much shuffling at the start of a game. There are so many cards in that game with all of those extras in there. So instead you can just have the cards in alphabetical order, and then an app will tell you which one to draw, which sounds amazing, but I haven't played it like that yet. But yeah, love some Eldritch Horror. The standout discovery, and I've come to it very late, but the standout discovery of this year for me, of looking back on older things, Fitz Print wasn't shipping until the start of 24. Yeah, I think generally it's been about a year, right? Because Verdant's shipping now. Was Verdant about a year ago? I lose all track of time doing things. Oh, November. Arkham Horror, the card game. I did a playthrough for this back in 2016 when it came out, which was like the first year I was doing videos. It's shaky can, but I enjoyed the playthrough. I think I was a little bit more... I was too wary of spoilers. Do some story. But this is the latest standalone scenario for Arkham Horror, the card game. There have been a billion expansions and scenarios for it at this point that I've missed out on because, yeah, I don't know, you can see my original thoughts. I wasn't that buzzed about the original game. We did used to play it 4-player, and for various reasons, it used to really get on my nerves. But partly through this run of things that we've been on, yeah, I've changed my mind about it, and I've been playing characters that I enjoy more and doing things that I enjoy more. But yeah, this is a casino heist. We are Ocean's 11ing through a suspicious, possibly supernatural casino, and I did a possibly too complex playthrough of this because it's a bit of a complicated scenario. Well, there's a lot of things that can be going on. There's a lot of things to be checking off. So there's that, and I played 2 of the newest characters with kind of complicated decks. I shouldn't have thrown all of that in the same playthrough. There's another one coming up that I'm going to make simpler. There's just one character, and I don't think their deck's very complicated. But yeah, I think despite that, it's an amazing scenario. So it's in 2 parts as well. So the first part is the kind of the planning, the recon of the heist. So you can see a full playthrough of that. Carnegie, vote winner, went back to this and turned expansions on this time. Everything that is compatible with the solo mode, which is like it's tons of new facilities and things. You can change your starting setup. You get given an amount of money and you can spend that on how many workers, how many moves, all sorts of things you begin with. And yeah, it's just a good reminder of how much I enjoyed Carnegie, because it starts to fade after a few months that like, did I enjoy it that much? So I really remember in the first playthrough, absolutely loving it. Was it just a buzz? Now going back to it, really, really loved it again. Even though, did I get smashed again this time? I can't remember if I've won yet. Scythe, there's been a bit of a gap on things because, yeah, everything got on top of me. But our Scythe, the Rise of Fenris campaign continues and continues to continue. Chapter 6 came up on the Rise of Fenris. There are 8 chapters and it's nearly done. Chapter 7 is on Patreon now. It's coming out this week, right, on the main channel. And Chapter 8 will be, if not next week, the week after. It's done. Chapter 8 just needs editing. I don't want there to be big gaps on things, because I've done that with something else that I'll mention in a minute that'll be coming up. Oh, it was the end of October, wasn't it? Arkham Horror, the card game. So yes, this is the heist portion of the Ocean's 11. It's not just like, I didn't really know how to name them. It's not part 1 and part 2 of a playthrough or episodes or anything like that, like I've split it. It's 2 huge separate playthroughs. They took absolutely ages to film. In part 1 especially, I tried extra cameras everywhere. I tried all of this special stuff. It took so long to make that video. And in the end, I should have just kept things the way that they were, really. But yeah, I really enjoyed making them and just playing the scenario. It's a really great one. Do I do deck building myself? No, not so much. I have changed some things sometimes in the decks that I've used, but I'm still very... I think by now, I've probably played like 4 or 5 campaigns at this point over the last few months. And we're playing Scarlet Keys now, both as a thing with me and Rach, in our 4-player group with a couple of friends. We are at various points of Scarlet Keys that we're really enjoying. But yeah, I think we're kind of getting to the point now where we could probably not build very good decks, but we could probably build some kind of passable deck. Whereas like a couple of campaigns ago, I think it would have just been a nightmare of just not having any idea of how things work together, especially with the amount of cards that are in that game now. But now it's got to the point where, oh, look at the amazing amount of cards in there, and just seeing like different decks and how all of these. Oh, here's a deck that relies on giving out Rach's sister Mary in our Scarlet Keys campaign, so she's putting blessings in the bag all the time, which are great and can lead to like all sorts of roller coasters, especially if there's a load of curses in the bag as well. Oh, bestiary is cancelled. Oh, they never told me. I can't keep on top of everything. Oh, that's a shame. I thought it looked cool. There's so much in it as well for a little game. Power Core Call of Cthulhu lasted 2 days. Oh no. Yeah, a lot seems to like it seems to happen more this year, but I wonder if that's just because like people have less money and stuff. I don't know. Thanks, George. I'm glad my playthrough helped you. Tempted by Carnegie. Yeah, I held out for a while, unsure about it, but I'm glad I caved. Oh, I'm still talking about November, aren't I? World Stitchers. It's a lovely tile laying game. We're stitching together a world. We are animal spirits and things. It's a lovely thinky kind of tile laying game where when you place a tile and it gets energy on it, and it also gets energy for every matching bit of terrain that you put down, and you've also got stamina made up of tiles as well, which determines how and where you're allowed to move on these tiles, and you want to basically move over all the energy and hoover it all up and then use that stored energy to buy more things. And you can buy more stamina so you can move more later on. You can be the first to get to, I think it's 40 energy, and instantly win that way, or if you build a certain number of spires you can win as well. Yeah, it worked beautifully. You can see it's in a 2-player playthrough there with a few extra modules turned on. Hey Jackpot Man, how's it going? What is next? Hadrian's Wall. There's been a bit of a gap as well. The Hadrian's Wall campaign resumes, probably past its anniversary at this point, isn't it? Well, surely, even if you were doing one a month, 13 is after the anniversary, isn't it? But yeah, there are 16, I think, in total, right? We're going all the way. I'm not sure what's going to be next. We've had some chats about it. There's been some suggestions, but I think maybe when we get closer to the end there, we'll have a vote and see, like, it's been nice having, like, a regular thing that I can do every month, and it's not too long, and I don't have, like, I've got the rules down pretty much. Hopefully I'm doing different things from scenario to scenario, but yeah, like, I'm not having to relearn a thing constantly, which, you know, for bigger games I might be. But yeah, you can see how Fort 13 went in our lovely Hadrian's Wall run. I think Hadrian's Wall is fantastic. I've played it. Like, I've played it about 15 times in videos, haven't I? But yeah, I think it's got a, like, you would think by this point, the solo campaign helps massively with the replayability, giving you different goals, different aims, different rules and restrictions and stuff. Because yeah, I wonder if you were only playing it solo and it didn't have the campaign, I probably wouldn't have played it this often. Like, the campaign and streaming it has given me a reason to keep going back to it when, you know, I don't get a chance to go back to as many things as I would like, he says, as he's played, like, the Arkham horror card game 1 billion times this year. But that's because that's, rather than playing different games in, like, game night with friends, we're just playing Arkham Horror. But yeah, you could check out the... I did a playthrough of just the solo game as well, with no solo campaign things, if you just want to see how, like, the core game works. But I think maybe the first episode of the solo campaign would be mostly the basic game, I think, stuff. But yeah, Hadrian's Wall, it's great. Oh, they're going straight to retailing. Oh well, at least it's happening then. Yeah, if you're not a fan of pen and paper, there's a lot of pen and paper. Yeah, the solo campaign is on Board Game Geek. It's also, like, if you just Google it, it's on Renegade's site. I assume it's on Garfield's site as well. Oh yeah, it's just a little PDF to giving you all of the rules for 16 games. If you like, Twilight's Great Inscription is worth playing. If you like Hadrian's Wall, Three Sisters, Fleet... I still haven't played Fleet the Dice game. I still can't get it. But yeah, I think I was a bit wary. Like, if someone comes up selling it or there's a deal on it, I'll give Twilight Inscription a go. Because I think it probably would just be solo. I don't really know. Like, Twilight Imperium, like, the length of play, the meanness, so many things. Check me out of that game. But I know Twilight Inscription is just, like, thematically that, isn't it? It's the gameplay isn't similar at all. It's like translating it into a roll and write kind of game, which I would like to give a go. It was just a lot. Right. What else was there? Oh yeah, Mansions of Madness. This was the other thing there was a great big gap on. I rushed episode 1 so it could come out on Halloween, and I shouldn't have. So there was a great big gap between episode 1 and the other two. But it is finished now. You can see the full playthrough of one scenario, the behind closed doors scenario of Mansions of Madness, because I'm sure I've put episode 3 in as a separate picture. Frosthaven, there will be a playthrough coming up fairly soon of Frosthaven, and we can see it all in beautiful action. There will also be videos coming up for, oh yeah, that camera's not on, remember these things, for beautiful inserts like this one from Folded Space that I am currently in the middle of filming a video about. We have done the portion of the video where I build the thing. It takes the longest, and it will end up being a ridiculously sped up tiny portion of the video. But hey, if you don't build the thing, how can you show off and talk about the thing? But yeah, there's that. There will also be a video for the Laserox insert, which is still to be built and is, I imagine, similarly beautiful. That's a wooden insert. This is still, you know, Folded Space do the lovely foam things, but hey, they used to be all grey. This one's kind of electric blue, and it's all printed with what should go in the trays and things. What a great idea. Yeah, so we did... not our first unboxing in a long time. Probably only like the third unboxing I've ever done. Because, like, generally, it's not because, like, I don't want to do them or I dislike them or anything. I just forget. And I've usually torn open a game and and ruined my opportunity to unbox things. I did tear open Frosthaven and look at our scenario. It's Rach and I. Technically, like, maybe in a minute way, game designers, scenario designers, maybe not game designers, but yeah, we're in Frosthaven. Unbelievably, I can't believe it. So yeah, I did open it for that, and I did paint the minis, just the starting minis, because hey, as I said, you need to, like, I move on from things and forget about them, and yeah, these obsessions move like a whirlwind around things. So you got to capture it. If you're painting things right now, get them done, because who knows? I might not be doing it next week. So yeah, we did that with Frosthaven, and I'm going to be doing it tomorrow actually with Oathsworn, because although I've had Oathsworn for a few weeks now, but I haven't even opened any of the game bits. Again, I've just looked at the minis. We've decided, assuming that you're allowed to play these characters. I don't know if there's restrictions and stuff, but yeah, we've picked some characters we'd like to be. I haven't opened any of the actual components yet. The game weighs a ton. Maybe the game weighs, it feels like it weighs as much as, if not more than, Frosthaven. But yeah, you can see all the insides of Frosthaven. Kind of keeping it spoiler free. I don't really show off the punch boards and stuff. Don't open any secret boxes. Only open like the starting character boxes and things. 11 came back for another playthrough, this time for the solo campaign. So there is an expansion, as you can see in that picture there. Which takes you on a journey, as a manager, going to different clubs, hopefully getting better and better, getting more interest from like international teams and things. But you must start at the bottom. So there is a solo mode built into 11, the Football Manager board game, but this is a separate little box you can buy that has got cards and its own components and things, but the main portion is these scenarios that, like, so you start off in a club that is not particularly well regarded, lucky to be in the bottom division, and your aim in that first scenario that we played is don't get relegated, don't come second to last, and if you do come second to last, there's a little playoff, and get this many points so you can be considered an assistant manager. And then if you get a better rank, different clubs will consider you. You can stay with that club for another season, and there's a different scenario with you staying with that club. There's some really cool things in there. That's like there was a great solo mode already in the box, but it's cool that you can play through a bit of a Championship Manager story, because just say that's what it's kind of inspired by. Or Football Manager it would be now, wouldn't it? Is it still called Football Manager? The good one was Championship Manager when I played it, and then I think they left and started making Football Manager. I can't remember. Who remembers Football Manager 3 on the DOS things? I don't know. An old PC. 11 looks interesting. I think it's pretty cool. There's some fiddly bits. There's some bits I'm still not sure about. I feel like there was something I was corrected on in the first playthrough about how many attackers and defenders you can have that I did differently in the second playthrough, and I got corrected again. So I don't know, like, maybe I just did it wrong both times. But yeah, there's still a few things that I'm not too sure about. But I'm having fun, and I think we had some good football journeys anyway. I think that happened on the 30th, so I think that might be the end of playthroughs in November, and I think the next picture might take us to Gridcon. Hey, yes. So Gridcon, like, we haven't been to a convention. Like, we did go to the expo, didn't we, this year? A bit. But before that, the last convention we went to was not even the last Gridcon. We went to the original Gridcon, and I would encourage you. I should have got a link ready. Watch my Gridcon video. I went to the first Gridcon as I don't know, media. I don't know, to make a video about it ultimately. Although we did go there and we did play some games. Like, I did make a video for it. Oh, I love it still. Like, whether you're interested in conventions or not, or maybe you're never going to go to Gridcon, maybe you're never going to be in the UK to go to Gridcon at a particular time. I love that video though. I hope you like it too. But this isn't about the video, is it? This convention. So I think, like, we did a better job. Like, I don't know, the first one, I'm much more kind of like, if given an opportunity, I will just kind of turtle and be off in a corner, and I'll just play like some games. I probably won't join any games, and won't sign up for things and all of this stuff. And I don't know that we did a bit of it the first one, but not very much at all. This time I made I kind of forced myself, like, oh, look at the scheduler, like, book a game out, like, see what's going on, book into things. So we did. We played Alta Quest. We didn't get that many games played, but the ones we did play were massive. And we played a huge game of Alta Quest with Rachel and Phil. Hey, Rachel's a Patreon. Thanks, Rachel. It's I had played before Brook City, which is like a kind of Miami Vice, an American cop version of this. They use a similar kind of card system, but this is kind of Hero Quest's bigger brother. You can see like the board is heavily Hero Quest inspired. But yeah, roaming around from room to room, fighting fantasy things. Ultimately, Rach got left with a load of monsters and died. But in between them, we got some good things going. But yeah, I really like the dice system is the same as in Brick City as well. That you roll for hits, but there is a crit side to the die, and your crits kind of explode. So when you get a crit, it's a hit, but then you get another die and roll that. And there is something massively satisfying about rolling a crit, which gives you another die, which then rolls a crit, which gives you another die. Of course, by the same token, you can just roll a load of misses, and it's disappointing. But that's dice. Yeah, I had a great time with Altar Quest. Maybe you can see some other. Hey, look at all of the components and things. Loved it. It's hard to get though, so like I don't know if I'll be able to ever get a copy of it. I don't like football at all, James. But yeah, I really enjoyed. Like partly even when I didn't like football when I was a teenager, I did used to play Championship Manager 2000, 2001 a bit. Like despite not really knowing who the people were or what some of the terms meant. Yeah, I strongly dislike football, but still really enjoy 11. We played, well, we were supposed to, at Gridcon, be part of like an epic multiplayer game of Machinations of Time, one of the more recent standalone scenarios of Arkham Horror. We'd never played an epic multiplayer version of it, partly because we've only been playing it for a few months. But yeah, we signed up to an epic multiplayer thing. Sadly, it didn't happen for various reasons, but we did play a 3-player kind of normal multiplayer game of that scenario. It's a fantastic scenario. Thanks to Angus for playing with us as well. And yeah, you can see some of you can see our decks there. You can see Rachel's sister Mary in action, throwing all of those blessings and cursings about. You see me as the Doctor Vincently power wording a load of enemies, and you can see some of the lovely by the same token tokens that I have bought or got for my birthday. It's great. More on the Arkham Epic multiplayer journey in a future photo, I think. But we also played Marrakesh by Stefan Feld. This is the original game from the City Collection, right? Like everything else is like is New York Rialto, Amsterdam is Macau, and Hamburg is Bruges. Like still not exactly. There are modifications. There are new things, but they are re-implementations. Marrakesh is the big new game, and like point salad. There's all of the you can see on our player boards. There's all these different locations to be putting things down. You kind of like. You have all these different coloured cylinders at the start of a round that relate to these various actions, these various bits on the board that you can take. And I'm just watching me do weird things with my... realise I was doing that. Me trying to recall things is smushing me hair. Seeing myself in the YouTube window that's in a delay. Yeah, you get these cylinders. You pick 2 in secret, and everyone else reveals what they have picked. They all get dropped into a cube tower, and in 2-player anyway, they all fall out. They very rarely... Paul did tell us later. Paul Grogan, of course, of Gaming Rules, who runs Gridcon. Yeah, he did tell us later that the cube tower is supposed to work like that, but I think as big Amerigo fans, we missed the tower being stingy. It barely caught anything in it, but yeah, it's kind of there was a lot of cool things about it. Like I love a good bunch of systems all interacting differently. You know, you get rewarded for building up your people in the various sections and strengthening the action when you take it next time. But you kind of like you pick these colors, and then you put your workers, the actions you will take on the colors of the cylinders that you picked. Then they get dropped through the cube tower, and you one at a time draft the cylinders that came out. In 2 players anyway, because like you're only putting in like a few cubes every time, like it rarely ever got to like if we'd both picked the same color or one did happen to get stuck, and like basically your choice was whether you wanted that action or not. If a couple of cylinders came out at once, you'd be like, well, I'll take those then. Or if like the thing you wanted to do had been taken by the other player, you'd be like, well, like there's the other thing I kind of wanted to do, but the thing to do is to take the disc the take the cylinder that you wanted away from you, because you can only kind of action the space on the board if you chose that cylinder that turn. Like there felt like in our game at least that two players, it was kind of obvious what to take all the time. Like it was never like it wasn't a tough decision a lot of the time what we should be taking away. Usually the thing that we'd both picked. If you happen to be first player that round. And yeah, because of that, there was a lot of kind of denial more than anything. Rather than picking because I wanted to do something, you would be picking because I'm not really bothered about these things, but I can see that you're bothered about this thing and it's left, and I want to take it away. And we don't like playing like that. And yeah, there were good things about it, but generally we weren't massively jazzed about Marrakesh. Unfortunately, we didn't play it with any modules on. Maybe that was a mistake. Sometimes it is. And yeah, I haven't played a solo mode if there's that in there. But yeah, just as that 1-2 player game, learning it at the con. Yeah, we weren't buzzing too much about it. Are there more pictures? Oh yeah, there's more lovely pictures of Marrakesh. It's a beautiful production. I think there will be a picture coming up. You can see Rach's SpongeBob bag there. Rach has just come in as well. I don't know if she'll be joining us. There's the Marrakesh Cube Tower. I don't think we took pictures of Atiwa. We played Atiwa by Uwe Rosenberg. I enjoyed bits of that. I didn't like the gold, the random gold coming out from a bag, and you might get some gold, you might not. I lost by like 1 point, and I never got, like, I got gold from the bag like 10% of the time. It's supposed to be 50-50, the rulebook says. Oh, and you like Marrakesh. No, not Marrakesh. It starts with the same 2 letters. You like Machinations of Time. I thought it was a really cool scenario, and I really liked the idea of how it would work. Oh yeah, so they're the games that we played at Gridcon. But yeah, I really enjoyed, like, there's the bring and buy, there's the food, the hotel and stuff. I liked the new hotel that it was in. Like, we stayed there as well. It's nice. It's nice being out and about and seeing gamers. And yeah, like generally, like I haven't been to Essen since 2019, and like they're different things like that. Essen and the expo and stuff. Like, just I still go and still enjoy lots of stuff about them, but generally the shop in the exhibitions, yeah, I don't find as fun as I used to. Maybe this time at the expo we should actually arrange to sit down more and play some games, which we usually do kind of at the end of one of the days, I think. But maybe we should just be in the open gaming a bit more when we go, because like Gridcon is a game where it's a convention where there is a retailer, but the main thing that you're doing is just playing games or hanging out. And yeah, could still have done some more playing and some more hanging out, but enjoyed it much more. Hi Rach, are you joining us?
Where would I possibly go?
You'd have to move all the debris from the folded space insert out of the way. Hey Humanites, how's it going? If Atiwa didn't have the gold bag, would it have stood out? I don't think it stood out as like that particularly annoyed me. You could get Rach's. We talked to someone suggested they'd like to hear. It might have been Jonathan actually. They'd like to hear what you thought of Marrakesh. I said you wouldn't really appreciate giving your opinion on any game.
Especially not a prepared opinion. Why, what was your opinion?
We didn't really like it. Did we?
I would say you didn't like it more than I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's probably true of Atiwa.
And I think what happens is if that one of us doesn't like it, it does mean that we both don't really like it because we're not enjoying playing it together.
Yeah,
I think that does affect the enjoyment of both of us, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah, that's still like it could have been like, maybe it would have been a case as well where like those modules, there's a load to learn, as there is with any point salad game. You've got to learn about all of these different locations and stuff. And actually, when you finish the rulebook, you're like, this is actually quite simple how it all works. But yeah, like it's like, and you're sitting at a convention and you got to read through all this stuff.
Yeah, there was a lot.
We thought like,
we
well,
didn't play with any of it.
yeah,
Did we? Any of the extra
I
stuff.
think I thought especially like, I'm taking in so much, I don't want to do any modules, and maybe like we should have just put a load of modules on.
The rule book wasn't. It was just a long rule book. Long rule book.
Yeah, so it's got to describe all of these different sections, hasn't it? But I feel like it could be that like if we do get sent a copy or they become available at some point, and we play it again here, maybe we'd feel differently about it. Maybe it was just that particular game. Like from the sound of it, from what Paul said afterwards, the cube tower thing is never going to change. Where the cube tower basically never
I just didn't think it was very
takes
good
a cube.
for two people,
but yeah,
really.
like the things as well that we're saying about the cube tower never taking things and your choice, like if two of the same colour come out, well, obviously you're going to take, why wouldn't you take that? Whereas if it was a 3 or especially 4-player game, that would happen a lot more. And there might even be like, what, 3 of, because you take like up to 2 of one colour, don't you? So you can't just grab 3 at once.
But there's never gonna be 3 unless like 1 stayed in, and I think that happened once the whole game.
Yeah.
Is that 1 stayed in, and then we both played the same colour, so then 3 came out. It only happened once. And I think it probably only 2 of the same colour came out maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
Everything else was like just always 1.
Just be like Paul did say afterwards that that is their intention. And yeah, the cube tower is not supposed to be a big part of it. So kind of be like, well, do we need it then? But yeah, we were thinking while we were playing, it would be nice in 2 players even if you were just chucking 1 extra cylinder or 2, like from just a dummy supply of all the colours, like grab a random colour and just chuck that in every turn. Like, I don't know, it could just mess up the game balance, but just so there was something more like playing into your choice a little bit, rather than like if you're the first player and only 1 colour has got 2 cylinders out there because you've both picked it, there's no decision. Like you're gonna pick that thing, and then once the thing you wanted's been taken, and if you're not that bothered about all the other things, you're gonna be like, okay, then well, I can only take actions where the colours are, and I'm not bothered about the things on the left. I can see that you've got there's a colour you want still there. I'll take that then, because it'll be all right for me in the end, and it means you don't get to do something. Oh, he's here. He's been with me all day in this beautiful spot I set up for him, and this camera's been empty the entire time because he's been downstairs meowing for food.
Can't get his face in. He keeps trying to turn away.
Having a sniff. Here he is.
Well, he's deciding to crawl on the top of your chair, so that'll be interesting.
We've got some Marty on camera at least. He's trying to do a big jump then. Yeah, the things that, like, I don't know, I wouldn't write off either of them. Like, they weren't great first plays.
I think I enjoyed Atiwa more than you did.
Yeah.
But like, I got lucky on the gold, but I wouldn't say it didn't put me massively ahead. We were very close, weren't we, on the score 1 point?
Yeah. So like that was kind of the thing in the end of just like,
I didn't go heavy bats. You went heavy bats.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to make a difference. Or,
yeah, that we like the thing more with there was a bit of frustration over the gold bag, but like as I say, we were 1 point apart in the scores.
Yeah.
And
but it didn't feel like we were close. You felt like I was a lot more ahead than
you were getting a lot more done
than we thought. But in the end, it didn't really make much of a difference.
But like the gold, like it's just like a particularly statistically bad game because it says in the rulebook the gold is 50-50. Like you either get a gold or you don't, and gold is useful, but is also a point each. So like you're 50% of the time you're supposed to get a gold, and mine was like. Was it like 10% of the time?
No, you didn't get a single gold.
Yeah, it was something terrible.
I got 1 blank, and then I got 2 2s and a 1.
Yeah, so I just had amazingly bad luck with it. And there's supposed to be like a 2 gold in.
No, I think.
Oh, did you get the 2 gold? There's like.
No, I didn't get 2 2s. I got 1 2 and then 2 1s.
Yeah, I think there's 2 in the bag of 2 gold of like a special little thing like that. I don't know. I think I can do without that if If I'm in Euro mode, I can do without randomy bits like that. But yeah, I'd like to try them both again in our lab
It's
conditions.
just a shame because I get thematically like about, looking for gold and sifting for that gold, but did it really need to be in there? That randomness? I don't know.
No, I prefer like the randomness coming from like I know people have problem with maybe like the cards in Feast for Odin, which never seem like they have enough impact in the game for the randomness to matter. Like I never feel like I play enough for it to matter. And like all of the cards that come out in Hallertau, I felt like you drew so many that it didn't matter the look of the draw in that. I'd rather the randomness came from that. Like in Agricola, all of the cards that you get at the start, there's the randomness, and there's still
There's
if you
time
play,
to plan, isn't there?
yeah, and
with
this
those cards.
yeah, rather than it just being like draw from a bag to see if you get a wood or not. Like I'm not interested in things like that. Like in multiplayer anyway. Like again in solo probably wouldn't bother me, but like in Euro multiplayer, goodness, I'm not so fussed about it. Are you going to tell everyone a story, Rach?
No,
Story time with Rach has been requested.
not today.
Now we're going to be. I really want to do Galzir. Like try and find time for it at some point.
Well, hopefully from next week. Too many Christmas parties this week.
Yeah, Frosthaven will be next week in some form at some point. But yeah, hopefully do some Galzir after that. Because I was looking at last year's December recap range, and we were in the middle of role player adventures this time last year. We're like 5 or so episodes in.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
I know.
Not a year.
Barely a year ago. But we're
Aeon's End seems a year ago, and it clearly wasn't over a year ago.
what Aeon's End Legacy.
Yeah, it just
Might as well have been a
so
year
long
ago. I saw someone else selling it on Facebook this morning. They'd done scenario 1 and decided they didn't want to go any further. We gave it 2. Yeah, we sold Aeon's End Legacy at Gridcon. I think someone bought it not caring about the legacy bits, just like
Yeah, we found the legacy bits discarded.
Yeah.
At the side later on.
just like yeah, it's a shame, but it's kind of those first 2 games really, really soured us on that legacy and kind of Aeon's End a little bit. Haven't played Aeon's End since, but maybe it'll come back. We haven't got a little story waiting in the wings to tell everyone, Rach. We're on. We're at the end of talking about November. We're at. We've just done Gridcon. We're about to move to Sheffield. Got any thoughts on Gridcon you'd like to share, Rach? Your experience?
Not really. Just really far away.
Yeah, that's
And for some reason, every time we've been, the 2 times that we've been to Gridcon, every drive back, there's always some sort of thing on the motorway that makes it take an hour longer.
Yeah,
20 times.
the only downside is how far away Taunton is from where we live. It's like 3.5 hours,
on a
4
clear
hours.
drive, 3-ish hours, just over.
Yeah.
But on the way there, it was night time and rush hour, so it was like 4 hours. On the way back, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Because there was a collision. So, well, aftermath of a collision. So, just long.
Yeah, have it like 10 minutes away from us next time, Paul. Well, I think he's announced. I think it's going to be in the same place. You check out Paul's post about Gridcon 4. Like a few things went wrong for the hotel that they're going to improve next time. They didn't think people were going to eat and drink as much as they did.
I was going to say, a lot of the food we were going to eat, weren't we, there?
Yeah, I think a lot of the menu would run out.
On the evening, but
didn't they run out of Coke day 1?
Yeah, and they were going to do burgers, but then had to do hot dogs and stuff because of supply.
Yeah. And like there were
great.
staff, they had a big staff shortage that weekend as well, unfortunately. But it still went great.
Breakfast was okay.
It still went great despite that.
Was
yeah,
right.
It was a lovely breakfast buffet. But yeah, it's going to be there again, I think, and it's a bit later in November this time. I want to say like 18th, something like that.
I just think,
but tickets will go on sale in March. You can follow Paul and Gridcon for that.
I mean, the biggest disappointment, I would say, was and it's nothing really to do with the organisation or anything of Gridcon, it's just the the downfall of the epic machinations of time.
Yeah.
That we
And that's
really
kind of
wanted
like,
to do, and
yeah,
that's not really anyone's fault.
no, it's just the organizer couldn't make it in the end. So I think 2 players were short, but then the remaining 12, like, of the remaining players, I think 12 people just found each other and did it. And so there were like 6 more people. Yeah, there were 6 of us left. And so like if we
had 2 copies of the game.
we could have split, if we'd have split those like 18 people more evenly, we probably could have done it. But yeah, the 6 of us, I think we might have just had enough stuff, but by the time like we'd found each other and sorted out what we could do, we could only get there was like tables at the other side of a great big room, so we couldn't do the epic multiplayer that way. And I think like you have to have 3 groups for Machinations of Time. So at the point where we only had 6 of us, it would have to be 3 games of 2 players, which like we wouldn't mind. We always play 2 players, but yeah, you're there to play with other people, and we would have been at different points of a room. So I don't know. You'd have, and it's a scenario where if you're playing an epic multiplayer, you very much have to announce things to other people. Like it's such a cool sounding scenario that like yeah, it's all as you might expect. It's all time travel-y, and yeah, you doing things in the at some point in the timeline, you announce it to everyone that's playing, and that'll affect their game because each group is locked into a past, present, and future timeline. Yeah, it seems really cool. We'll play it at some point. It's yeah, there's potentially more promising things on the Arkham front. On the topic of Arkham, the next thing after Gridcon is traveling to Sheffield to Patriot Games, who like didn't go to their first Arkham Knights thing, but they suddenly announced like they were going to do another Arkham Knights thing where nowhere close to us was doing it. And yeah, it's not very well supported, I don't think, by Fantasy Flight anymore. They're doing something. They're giving people the files to print the playmats themselves at the shops. They're not sending over lovely packs like they used to. You're not getting the scenario like you are in America, although you have to go to like the official place to get that, I know. But yeah, we went all the way to Sheffield, another not very short drive, to play Machinations of Time Epic Multiplayer at Patriot Games, and then we were the only 2 people there to do the epic multiplayer. Someone did come who like normally organised the games that hadn't been asked to, but also like yeah, no one else came. There was when we got there, they told us like, oh, sit over there. There's some people playing Arkham Horror. They were just there incidentally to play some Arkham Horror.
I think
they weren't there for us.
They got their mats, I think, and then they just played a game, didn't they?
No, they had their own mats. They had already participated in the original one a few weeks before, and so didn't need to pay and get the play. We got some lovely play mats, and we did end up playing a nice 3-player game of, I can't remember the name of it, the Egyptian one. It's part of the Guardians of the Abyss pack. We played the first scenario of that, which we'd never played before, and it's always like a lovely game. We played with someone new. They played Kamani that in a different way than our friend had played them, and we had some more fun being Sister Mary and Vincent Lee. But yeah, still Machinations of Time gets away from us. So yeah, it's hard. Like I imagine that generally wouldn't happen with events and things. But yeah, it's a bit gutting to travel all that way. It would have been nice to know that, by the way, guys, you're the only 2 people that have bought tickets for this. Shall we reschedule? Because yeah, as nice as the mats were, we went there to play the lovely scenario as well. Do you want to sit down with us, Rach?
No.
Why not?
Probably gonna go.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Are there any more pictures on this?
Don't know, I sent you a few.
Oh, yeah, there's a bit of a zoom in. You can see underneath our play areas the lovely mats that we got. And nobody took photos of the last... Oh, actually, this is in December, technically. But we did this Sunday, actually. We went to Boards and Swords in Derby, which is a bit closer to us. And they were doing one where it's the blob that ate everything scenario. And we've never done that before. And there was like 15 of us playing? 15 people playing. Yeah, successful epic multiplayer thing. Although it's a different kind of scenario where like the number of players affects it, but there's not so much interaction. Like you're all playing a separate game with a common goal. There's a common thing to be doing that we all need to contribute towards. But yeah, we still got to play an epic multiplayer game. We've got all 3 of the playmats now, and a selection of various promo cards. And yeah, we found out there is a group for like Nottingham, Arkham Horrors, which isn't that close to us. But yeah, maybe there'll be, if there's more things in Derby, which there seems to be every now and then. Derby's not so bad, we found out. Like Derby's only about 45 minutes away, which is much better than like it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours to Sheffield through crazy country lanes. Because it's a lot more straightforward and nicer getting to Derby from where we are anyway. Yeah, Rach just likes being slightly off camera.
Yeah, I have been sat down most of the day. And now I am going.
You're leaving us. You're not excited about these. Give us your thoughts on these games that are coming up.
Well, what games?
The games that are going to be in the vote. The games that you might well be playing. You seem thrilled, Rach. How do I get? Is this the last picture? There we go. That was Oceans again. So yeah, we didn't take any pictures, unfortunately, at Derby, but I had a great time there. It was it was just easy to get into. I suppose there were people there more than anything, so we could actually play the game. But yeah, it was cool. The browser, hopefully you can see the last option come up early.
Well, my advice is that if you really want story time, vote for a game that's got a story in it.
Yeah, if you want story time with Rach,
it's my advice.
Vote for the story games. So December is now.
I'm going to back out of the room.
Okay then. See you soon.
Bye everyone.
So December then. There is a vote every month for the priority of the playthroughs, basically. One thing will definitely happen from the top, but usually I get time to do, a few things, and the vote decides the priority. It's gonna be made after I finish this stream, which I realise I'm rambling more than usual and it's going on longer, but hey, it's nice having a chat. Yeah, so if you aren't on there and you would like to be, patreon.com/slickerdrips. Ko-fi is also a way that you can support me. But yeah, the votes happens on Patreon shortly, and you can join the Discord and stuff and see videos early. It's great. But the things that are going to be on there. So, number 1, Frosthaven, a game from 2022. So this is a bit, I thought about whether to put this on there or not, because basically it's definitely getting a playthrough. Gloomhaven is my favourite, and there is another one that exists, and it's bigger than Gloomhaven and bluer. Hey, how would I not want to play it? And from kind of a cold hard numbers perspective, it's like, surely, like, is Gloomhaven is like number 1 still, right, on BGG? Surely, like, I would be a fool not to do a video about it, and it helps to really, really want to as well. So there will be a Frosthaven thing, I think, next week if all goes to plan. But this is more for, like, I still put it in the vote because are you keen on seeing some Frosthaven? Like, I can't see a world where we have the time and the regular kind of freedom to do a streamed entire campaign of Frosthaven, and I don't know if Rach would even want to do that. So, like, I'm not promising that, but there could at least be, like, rather than just doing maybe the opening scenario in a playthrough, maybe we could do several. At some point, like, I don't know, like, because, like, if you don't know, Rach and I are in the scenario book. We are, in a very minor way, we're guest scenario designers in the Frosthaven book. So it would be lovely at some point to, I guess, play on. Oh, that would be, like, surely some people will stream the entire thing, and I hope statistically they would find our scenario. We'd get to watch people play our scenario. What if they hate it? I hope they wouldn't. I like it. But yeah, would you like to see more Frosthaven? So, like, I'll be honest with you, it's getting a playthrough, even if it doesn't get a single vote. But surely that wouldn't happen. Would you like to see some more of it though? There will definitely. We need like a how much story time with Rach is this going to have? A decent amount. Like, at least at the start of every scenario, there's a chunk of setting the scene. But yeah, like some story time with Rach, we'll say, for this one. I was about to press a button that would not do anything, because this isn't pictures anymore, is it? It's a browser window you need to switch between. Next up, a grey box. What's happened there? Have you seen a grey box? There it is. I'm okay with that. Oathsworn Into the Deepwood. I feel like, hopefully, you're never too late to play and talk about games, are you? I feel like I've been a bit out of the loop with this one and a bit late on it. But this is a big boss battler kind of game. Like, I've tried, really. I don't know, I've seen enough to hype me up and make me really want to play it. But I've kind of held off, like, the specifics of how we go about that. To the point where I'm going to unbox it tomorrow because, like, the components and things are still all sealed. It's got some lovely looking minis and things. But I have seen, I think, nothing but absolutely glowing reviews for the combat system in this, the production of the game. It's got a ton of story, I think. I think it says on the box. I don't know if this would be true. Maybe we're fast readers. But, like, for a session, it's like your battle would be about, does it say 60 minutes to an hour? The story portion is like 40 minutes, I think it says, which, like, maybe that would be a turn off for some people. Hey, we are Madara fans. Sometimes the story was an hour, not very often, but I think once it was like an hour in between, like, that was in between a chapter rather than just a scenario. We don't mind some big story if we are into it. I think it's like alternating between like a great big boss battle and choose your own adventure kind of story. This would be, if Rach wants to be on it, then yeah, there would probably be a lot of story time with Rach if that amount of story is to be believed. But it has got, like, it's got an app and stuff that handles all of these things, but I don't know, kind of, that gets into copyright, doesn't it, if you were using the audio book kind of portion of that. But it is, I forget the actor's name now. It's read by someone from Game of Thrones, who I remember being good. He was in it when I still watched Game of Thrones back in those days. But that'll be cool, doing that in some way. And yeah, you can see some more of me fumbling painting. You're not bothered about Frosthaven, but sure, lots of other folks are. Yeah, I think there will, like, yeah, it's hopefully going to be unbelievably popular just generally. Like, imagine the logistics, like, whether you're bothered about Frosthaven or not. The box, if you saw it in the unboxing, like this great big, most of a Kallax cube, you could probably fit a game on top of it. But most of a Kallax cube kind of game. The success of that Kickstarter, I don't know the number of people that ordered that thing, and then the number of people that would have pre-ordered it after, and the number you would make to then send to shops and stuff. How do you even get that amount of things into the world? Let alone, like, you've then got to get it globally to all of these places. Like, I'm not surprised shipping is taking forever because, like, it's a huge, heavy thing, and there are billions of them. Like, yeah, I saw some things kind of annoyed at them selling copies at PAX. Like, your copy is on the way, but, like, it's like a scale thing, right? There are so many that's, like, it's surely astounding that any copies make it anywhere. What was I talking about? I don't know. I've just gone off on one, haven't I? You often I don't really care for dungeon crawls. We are pretty into dungeon crawls. I think that some of it, especially Madara, is kind of, that's an overhang from video games, which we do play. Rach more than me. But yeah, when I do have a big swing into video games, it's the RPG kind usually, the JRPG kind. And hey, Madara is a big old love letter to them. But yeah, I don't think Oathsworn is necessarily a dungeon crawler. Maybe it says it on the page and I'm not particularly looking at it. It's like, there's a big bit of story in it, but it's like, kind of, I don't know if gameplay-wise it's any similarity to Kingdom Death Monster, but in the sense that Kingdom Death Monster wasn't a dungeon crawler. You are in, like, a board that is just a big open room fighting an enormous, tough creature that works in very different ways. I've only played Kingdom Death Monster on tabletop simulator, because I think forever it will be out of my price league. Hey, I'd paint it now, though, if I ever got it. I'd be so intimidated by that, though. You have to snap them off sprues and stuff. Back in the Warhammer days. So yeah, Frosthaven and Oathsworn are the two enormous boxes that are going to be in December's vote. Going down to just very large boxes, I'm wondering why this keeps... It's because I can't tab out of the browser, basically, to check on the video of the stream, unfortunately. So hopefully it all stays okay while I'm in the browser. Endless Winter, Paleo-Americans, designed by... I know he's designed many other things since then, but co-designer of Dice Hospital, Stan Kordonsky. We're in prehistoric times. It's kind of a mixture of kind of worker placement, of deck building, of all sorts of these like disparate elements. It combines worker placement and deck building in an innovative way. Each round you send your tribe members to various action spaces, pay for the actions by playing cards and spending resources. Tribe cards give you additional labour. Culture cards give you a variety of unique effects. It features a novel blend of interwoven systems and mechanics like multi-use cards, area influence, tile placement, set collection, and many paths to victory. Yeah, and it's got like, I don't know if I've got everything because it was a great big Kickstarter, but yeah, it's got tons of expansions and things in various boxes. On top of all that, we saw it being played at Gridcon. It looked beautiful. I do have it. I have bought it for your perusal, and my perusal, of course. But yeah, would you like to see it on camera? Hamlet. I was wondering, I think people asked me over the last couple of months, is Hamlet going to be coming up? You're going to do an updated video about Hamlet? I was being like, yes, when it comes. It came. I think it got delivered at the end of September. I found it about 6 weeks later. It had been delivered to a little kind of, I don't know, like tool chest we've got in the garden, and no one had said anything. So like it was only one day that I noticed, like, hey, the lid on that seems to be lifted a little bit. Oh, there's been a parcel in here all this time. Luckily it was fine. But yeah, I've got Hamlet now. So rather than the original overview, hey, it's a funky kind of tile laying game. Look at the shapes of these tiles. Look at the wild ways our villagers will go. And then you place in workers and trying to get a kind of logistics chain of being able to carry goods where you need to go to activate or to build new things. It was really cool, but I only did an overview at the time. As I did for Verdant, which we mentioned earlier, it's part of the loose series of Calico, Cascadia. It's about decorating your house. You are filling up rooms, you're putting down lovely house plants next to them that houses want particular things to be next to them, plants want particular things to be done. You want to build up tokens on plants so that they will score more for you. It worked absolutely beautifully, and yeah, the copy has arrived with me now of the final game, so I'd love to bring that back if you want to see some more Verdant. Speaking of seeing some more and things are being delivered, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, I covered, I don't know, was it even 6 months ago? Not that long ago, probably. The latest trilogy, the first game of the brand new trilogy of Garfield games. You've had the North Sea, you've had the West Kingdom, now we've got the South Tigris, and yeah, it was a lovely game of sky watching, of exploring new islands, of like not necessarily multi-use cards, but you're building up this big tableau, as you can see in this picture, of stargazing to give you all these endgame scoring points. You've got this lovely little discovery thing where there's dice placement, but your dice can get you extra things based on all of these tiles that you've gathered throughout the game. Cards that you can get that will reward you for taking various actions, just building up more and more bonuses throughout the game. It works absolutely beautifully. It is incredibly brain-burny, as you might imagine. I did do, I think, was it a live solo playthrough for the Kickstarter? But hey, it's arriving now. Should we do some more to see it in action? Like, I haven't got anything more for it, but hey, I'd like to play it. I need to get my hands on... Has it got metal coins? I think it's got metal coins, right? I need to get on the Garfield store and... see about any extras I can get for it. But yeah, would you like to see some more Wayfarers? So they are the brand newness. But from other things, we've got requests and we've got things that haven't had a play that I'd like to give a go maybe. maybe these are going to get, like, I always think, like, I want a load of options, but maybe by putting all of these options in, it's kind of like splitting the vote. It shouldn't split the vote because you can vote for as many things as you like. But yeah, first up, Dungeon Alliance, which I bought kind of all excited. It's got apparently it's a dungeon crawler, but don't panic. It's a very very Euro-y dungeon crawler that is apparently like bears some similarities gameplay wise to Mage Knight. That's what kind of got me excited, and I thought a long time ago now, like maybe even a year ago, like, oh yes, like bid on that. That sounds cool. And yeah, it's in the process of sorting out our living room and rearranging it all. Cut down on more games, like a load of games that I got around kind of summer, my birthday, October time last year, have just kind of gone away. Or still sealed because there is just no time, and unfortunately there is even less space, so I've had to give up on stuff. But yeah, a couple of things like this Dungeon Alliance, I really got excited for the sound of it. Yeah, you draft a team of 4 heroes from the 17 in the game. Use tactical movement and card play to overcome the dungeon's monsters and treasures. Each player starts with a unique 12-card starting deck that includes the starting cards from all 4 of their heroes. You can play it competitively, you can play it cooperatively, I think. Oh yeah, it says right there at the bottom, in bold. Hey, imagine if I looked at that. But also solo play. So yeah, I'd like to do some soloing. And so when this got brought up in the Discord, ears were perked up by the mention of Mage Knight, and as requested, hey, Mage Knight is back in the vote. Remember back in those hazy days when I was like, I think I've done this every single time I've played Mage Knight. No, I'm going to play this regularly now. I'm going to keep all of the rules in my head. And I think was it kind of January last year? Maybe it was even I don't think it was the year before. But at some point, it was like, okay, Mage Knight's back out now. Did the introductory quest. I'm going to play it regularly. Let's stream it every month. And yeah, the logistics of having the time and brain space to stream a 3-4+ hour game every month is impossible. But sadly, I haven't played it for about 18 months. Hopefully, I haven't forgotten absolutely everything about it. But I've still like the idea as well as getting to play and remember Mage Knight. The idea is that you could dive deeper into it. And hey, what about all of these expansions that I think I've definitely got the big main expansion. And Paul Grogan designed expansions for it. Designed expansion for it. He definitely designed at least one. I've never played with any of that stuff, partly because like I don't want to just pile all of this stuff on without getting a good enough grasp of the base game. But basically, would you like to see some more Mage Knight? And if you do want to see some more Mage Knight, what do you want to see? Like, I can perfectly well pick another character and just try and get to grips with it again. But should I be diving into a particular scenario or just put an expansion on? What do you reckon? Let me know. Planet Unknown, I know it's been in a vote before. I know it did well, but not quite well enough. It's been on my calendar that, hey, find time to do this for months and months and months now, and I'd like to. But yeah, what's the temperature looking like for it? Do you want to see some? Look at that good rank. Hey, it's racing up. Yeah, I covered this for its Kickstarter. It's a beautiful terraforming a planet tile laying game. Look at this stuff. Oh, the beautiful painted things. Oh, some quality of the upgraded components. Well done, Freddie. Yeah, so I've got Planet Unknown. It is get recently closed tabs. In fact, we don't, not now, thank you. Yeah, it's got like a what's it? Is this no Lazy Susan? Is it what it's called? Yeah, I think that's the name for it. Yeah, it's got a lovely tile delivery system included in it as well. But yeah, would you like to see some Planet Unknown in action? Because it's looking longingly at me from the shelves. As is A Pleasant Journey to Neko? I don't know. But this is a lovely Antarctic penguin kind of game. That as well as Languish has been begging for me to play it. It's a strategy game. There is a mid-game scoring phase. It's a dice drafting game. We exchange resources, card abilities, bid on cards, take free actions. We try to build ship lanes to create custom hubs to give you locations to trigger powerful new actions. There is a unique dice drafting mechanism and card laying mechanism. Over 100 card combinations exist, making each game different and surprising. And there's an advanced mode. And you're having a pleasant journey to Nico. And it looks kind of beautiful, doesn't it? It's another one that, like, well, I've had no time for these things, but it's been so long now. But come on, give me the push to get it going. Because as well, I feel like I've cleared some things out, right, that I've said, yeah, I'll do that eventually, and then never had time for. I don't forget about these things. Imperial, Steve, you still have to. Have you cracked open Imperial yet? Like I do, like, these things are always on my mind. There will be time for these things. One day, I do want to do a playthrough for that. I don't know if I'll have time for it this month, because I'm at the stage of December where I'm like, there's a whole month ahead of us. We've got so much time. But then, as I was putting things in the calendar earlier today, you start to realise, oh, these weeks fill up fast, and there's not a lot of them before we'll be roaming around visiting family people. But there we go. They are the vote options: Frosthaven, Oathsworn, Endless Winter, Hamlet. Not on the right page for that. Verdant, Wayfarers of the South Tigris, Dungeon Alliance, Mage Knight board game, A Pleasant Journey to Nico, and Planet Unknown. The vote will be going up very shortly. I'll be writing the post after I end the stream. So, very, very shortly. I'm sorry Marty didn't join us for this stream. As I said, he's been here all day. But maybe that's it. He's just had his fill of being up here. Now Rach is home. There's no chance, because Rach is much closer to the food area of the house. So why would you be up here when, like, in his mind, there's a chance of getting food if he's down there? Whereas there's no chance of getting food until this stream's finished, sadly, Marty. But yeah, hopefully he will return for something. Maybe he'll come back to sit in Oathsworn's box lid like he did for Frosthaven. So I'm going to be back live tomorrow, I think at 5 o'clock again, 5 p.m. GMT, and I'm going to finally open Oathsworn. So, like, hopefully that's going to be a nice stream as well. The Frosthaven one was a lovely chat, and I got to crack open a game I've been really excited about. So I'm hoping for that from Oathsworn as well, because I'm desperate to get playing these things, and constantly being reminded of the time that doesn't exist for them all. Hey, it's amazing that all of these campaign games are here. It's just it's fighting for the attention that's being given to Frosthaven right now. Still waiting on Imperial. I haven't forgotten. It's still right here, taking up an entire Kallax cube. But yeah, I really enjoy Imperial, so that's not getting out of the way. It's one of many culprits of the Kallax going from having however many games in it to only having like 20 or something in it, because it's like a cube per game with some of these. Oathsworn takes up more than a cube. It takes up nearly 2. Greedy. But yes, if you were on Patreon, then the vote will happen very, very soon. I'll post it in a min. And if you're not and you want to be, the link's down there. I can't get this mirror image thing through my head, apparently. Yes, you can join up Patreon at any point in the month now, because it will just charge you a month in the future. Now, it won't charge you at the end of every month like it used to. It will, which actually makes things more complicated now for things like the credits and stuff like that. But it'll be okay, won't it? Mainly support the channel. Let me keep existing, because I'm worried about that. But maybe that's just me. It would be lovely to have you aboard, helping out, and you get to join the Discord and see things early and vote on the games and that. And I would really, really appreciate it. And so would Marty. Like, he doesn't show his appreciation by actually turning up, but there we go. Yeah, there's going to be loads of Frosthaven, but I do love some gloomy stroke Frostyhaven. So there's definitely going to be some up for it, but we'll see what the. We'll see what the consensus says. There's always going to be... It's never going to be... like, if Frosthaven wins, it's not going to be like... There's just 2-3 Frosthaven streams a week and that's it. hey, that's the dream, isn't it? It's not going to be that. Like, there would still be other things from the vote in there as well. And yeah, I want to keep mixing it up. That's why I'm worried about a little bit. That's the Scarlet Keys, the Arkham campaign. Like, I got it partly being like, well, the excuse of getting it. Well, you got to make a video then if you're going to be ordering this thing in. And it's like the new shiny thing, and hopefully people want to see it. But at the same time, it does come off the back of, I only did one about 2-3 weeks ago. So yeah, I don't want to make everyone sick of seeing the same thing. But like, I think you can see from the what happened this month recaps. There's plenty of variety and different stuff going on, I hope. And the things that get picked, like the Carnegies, Hadrian's Walls, the Flamecraft Carnegie, they were all like vote winning or almost winning things. So yeah, hopefully I'm doing stuff you're keen on. And yeah, if you're keener on other things, let me know then. Maybe I'm keen on it. Because yeah, I want to make things great. And yeah, I need you for that. Because hey, this just devolved into me rambling forever, wouldn't it? Yeah, Marty has been on a diet forever, it feels like. Maybe he's finally getting there now, with where he should be, with where the vet would be happy with. But yeah, he's on the strict like Wade food. That after all of this time, I don't know how long it's been, but yeah, if you think that cats might get used to being put on a diet, they do not. He is still furious every second of the day. He's hoping for being given more food, but he gets what he gets, and I think he's doing better from it. But Marty, like, he does get sneaked some treats now and then, generally from me. But yeah, all of the Patreon money goes towards Dreamies. You can guarantee that. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. I hope you'll join me for whether you're interested in seeing what's inside Oathsworn or you'd just like to have a chat. Both things will be happening at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And yeah, other playthroughs are going up in the meantime. Macau's up on Patreon now. A Marvel Champion... What happened then? It pinged me. Marvel Champions Wolverine playthrough is going up very soon, and tons of stuff beside that. Hope you enjoy it all. Thanks for your support. Support me if you can, and you're not already. And thanks for watching and being here, everyone. I'll see you very, 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 very soon. Bye-bye.